case you don't know what's going on, a girl on TikTok came on here and said that one of her neighbors received a government contract asking them to install a bunch of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. They're installing incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz is on indigenous land. It's like protected land. Two, there are migrants. There's people being washed ashore with shackles on. People are finding people on beaches wearing shackles. This is the level of that. There's another girl on TikTok who is tracking flights, government flights, or like leaving detention centers, and they are just going out into the ocean and then turning around. Just going out and turning around. The flights are not making it to their destinations. 2 + 2 does not equal 4. You understand what's going on right now. There's another guy on TikTok who said that he got pulled over by the cops. He's an American citizen. He just happened to have a Spanish last name. And they went and they looked through his information. They were like, we can't find you in any system. He's like, what? He had like several IDs because he lived in a couple of different states. He was like, well, I have this ID. I have my motorcycle ID. I have this. And then the cops were like, oh, you can thank your friends at ISIS. So they're taking people, American citizens. He's white, by the way. He just had a Spanish last name. They're taking people who have American nationals who have Spanish last names, removing them from databases so that when they get pulled over by cops and people like that, they go, oh, you're not in the system. You're an illegal immigrant. You're an illegal alien. So they can detain them. Do you understand what's going on right now?
They used to feed black babies to alligators. It's not a figure of speech. It's not hyperbole. It's not a metaphor. None of that. They used to feed black babies to alligators. And now there's a new facility being built in the Everglades of Florida. They're calling that Alligator Alcatraz. Newspapers like the Oakland Tribune in 1908 reported that black children used as bait for alligator hunting. One account described hunters paying a black mother $2 to use their child for this very purpose. Another report from 1908 described how zookeepers from New York Zoological Gardens use black babies to lure out alligators from their pits. By the early 1900s, the use of this trope was widespread. It was just a part of popular culture. Postcards, figurines, cartoons, they all commonly depicted black children as being threatened by alligators being completely aloof, often using the exaggerated racial features that we see expressed in the pickaninny stereotype. And this was the kind of content that white people consumed for entertainment. This was like a novelty, humorous to them. This wasn't limited to just trinkets and small items. This was used also as a racial slur. Bob Gibson, a Hall of Fame pitcher, recalls this phrase being shouted at him during games in the Jim Crow South. Even the University of Florida used to chant, "You ain't a gator, you gator bait." This is how harmful phrases with racist origins get repurposed for general use. Now today in the Florida Everglades, they're building a detention center, and they're calling it Alligator Alcatraz. This is an ICE detention center, basically a concentration camp that is surrounded by alligators. And black immigrants are being deported. And I'm sure amongst those are people who are not here illegally. And for those black people who have somehow along the way lost compassion for others, just realize you are on the road to being just like your oppressors. There were people online talking about black people can't be deported. There's been historical events in the past where they've proposed ideas to move black people out of America. And there's been talks about not just deporting citizens, deporting detractors. I mean, this is in line with what we spoke about with just general dictatorship. Ultimately, we have to understand our history, man. We have to. In 8 days, they built a facility with 5,000 plus beds surrounded by a moat filled with alligators and snakes. This is some villain shit. And you got this crazy lady here who looks like Jigsaw from the Saw series talking about there's 65 million meals if we get started today. There's currently 65 million Latinos in the United States. This is just how deranged these people are. You got a literal concentration camp that you guys flew down for the grand opening of. Is that not insane to y'all? All right. The other thing is that they're selling merch. They're selling merch.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.